One of the more active organizations in the Brattleboro area that you may or may not be aware of is the Meeting Waters YMCA. So the obvious questions, who, what, where, etc. We want to answer those, and with the possibility of knowing what those answers are is, to my right, Steve Fortier, the director of the Meeting Waters YMCA. Gretchen Horton is on the board, and to my left, Sue Fortier, who assumes a major position of power within the Meeting Waters YMCA. Both you and your husband do a lot of great work, and thank you for that. So, I guess the most obvious question, I look around Brattleboro, where are you located? I don't see a building.
You already said it, we're everywhere. No, that's right. We're one of the few non-facility YMCAs in the country. So we have great partnerships in Brattleboro, and particularly with the school system. So our Y sites here in Brattleboro are in each of the elementary schools, and we have a presence at Marlboro College Graduate Center where we have an office as well.
So what is your overall plan for the Brattleboro community? What do you see, and what do you want to do to create change, and what kind of change?
Well, that's a great question. We are creating change. We are working, I don't know if you've seen in the paper, the Healthy Community Coalition. We are working with different agencies, different partnerships, really putting in sustainable change about health and well-being. The focus in what we have been doing for, gosh, how many years now since you guys took over?
13.
We have been working in the school systems with the having the child care sites, and that is really to have healthy, active, engaged kids after school. So we provide programs in the 3 public schools, and what that does is it gives parents a place to be, or gives parents the comfort knowing that their kids are in a good, safe place. But overall, sustainable change, I'm going to let Sue and Steve talk about that because they've got some great ideas.
So, feel free to jump ball all around here.
Well, I'll let Sue, as program director, talk about the nuts and bolts of the programs, but I will say, as far as a plan, I'd say that there is really not one. We are a community responsive organization, so as Sue is talking about the various programs that we have serving youth and families in Brattleboro, you'll hear one common theme, and that is that we created the program in response to an identified need, or created in response to a request from school leaders or other community leaders, business leaders in the case of one program, and with our resources we created programs to address those needs. So it's less about our program and more about what the community needs from us.
Sue?
So while you may not have heard of the Meeting Waters YMCA, lots of people are familiar with the Aspire program, and that's our after-school program. It's actually an acronym for After-School Program for Inspiration, Recreation, and Education. We run that program in all 3 Brattleboro schools, as well as up and down the valley, Dummerston, Fells Falls, and Chester as well. So that program provides care for children after school each day, from the close of school until 6 o'clock, as well as all in-service days, vacation days, most holidays. And we really use that program for more than just childcare. When there was an identified need in Brattleboro by parents who needed an after-school program, and we said, well, we can do that. We can fit that bill. We can provide childcare, but while we have them, we want to make sure that it's an enriching program, that it's a valuable time for them. So it's more than just babysitting. There are themes each month, like this month is Appreciating Diversity. It's really about building community and helping those young people become model citizens within their community. So we have over 100 children in that program. In addition, we run a kindergarten Aspire program, and the parents of Brattleboro know that crazy month where school has started, but kindergartners get out at 1 o'clock, or it was 1 o'clock. Now I think it's 12:30 or 12 o'clock. And so what do you do when your child gets out at 1 o'clock or 12:30? And the school said, can you help us out? And we said, provide us with the space. We have phenomenal staff, and we can help you out with that. So we started the Kindergarten Aspire program. And in addition, the community, the business leaders in Brattleboro identified a need during snow days, those emergency school closings. Because, of course, what happens when school's closed? All their employees have to stay home because their children are home. So we were asked if we could help with that, and we said, provide us with the space. We have the capacity and the staff, and so we have the Y Snow Day program that also provides care during that time. So 3 programs that make up essentially the school year. In addition, we have our Lewis Day Camp program, which is takes place at our property in Springfield. It's a 52-acre day camp, phenomenal facility with a swimming pool and archery and canoeing and arts and crafts and nature. It's just a beautiful place. And we bus more children from Brattleboro to that property or to that camp than any other community in the area. So altogether, the children of this area are provided with year-round enrichment and childcare.
Well, yeah, I know where I've seen the Meeting Waters YMCA. I see a bus running around every now and then. I thought you were a bus company.
So, so there's yet another program that we have. There are young children who need to be picked up from home and taken to a child care program. And it doesn't have to be the Meeting Waters Y program. It can be another program. These families might be families who don't have transportation, but their children need to be in a child care program. So Meeting Waters Y has a contract to basically do bus service for young children, and they will pick up at the home and drop off at the child care center, and so the bus goes all morning and then goes in the afternoon on the reverse, picks up at the child care program and takes the children home. So there's yet another there was a need, and we figured out a way, how can we meet that need? And so that's kind of where we are. Part of what the board does in strategic planning works with the staff and administration of what's the need right now, and is it something that we can fulfill? And so that's kind of where we are, as long as it's around children and healthy families and youth development and all of that. That's really where our focus is a healthy family home.
How is all this paid for? Because I know you're all nice people, but at the end of the month, Central Vermont Public Service or Green Mountain Power won't accept, hey, I'm doing great work, thanks.
Yeah, what's up with that anyway?
Yeah.
So all of the child care programs are licensed by the state, and so what that means is that they have to meet certain criteria so that the families receive financial assistance from the state. And then that pays for a bulk of the child care. That also pays for the camper program. So the camp is also licensed. And then we've got to do fundraising, just like every other nonprofit. We do fundraising in the area, and we write grants. We do it with 3 staff. Our staff, besides all of our part-time staff, we only have 3 full-time staff to administer this year-round program, which serves a lot of kids and families, not just in Brattleboro, but all up and down the Connecticut River.
How big is the area that you serve?
Well, it's expanded a bit now with the Healthy Communities work. So the coalition that we pulled together in 2009 was change leaders from throughout Windham County, and our focus became helping to support change in all the communities of Windham County. So with that, the expansion more toward the Wilmington, Whitingham area, Mount Snow area, and the West River Valley area. Traditionally, since 1895, our service area has been the Greater Bellows Falls, Greater Springfield, Greater Brattleboro, and even the Fall Mountain region of New Hampshire, where we've got a lot going on there as well. So it's, doing the math recently, it's about 1,600 square miles.
Goodness, you talk about healthy community. What exactly is that, and what are you doing to help it make it happen?
Well, thanks for the question. We appreciate it. We enjoy talking about it. Our approach to healthy living, as a non-facility Y, we have to be creative, and you can hear that in hearing Sue and Gretchen talk about some of our programming. So our approach to health is really about, our tagline for the Healthy Communities Coalition is to help make the healthy choice the easy choice, where people live, work, learn, and play. So we've done that in a few different ways in the first 3 years of our existence, and we are expanding on that with our new 3-year strategic plan. But the bulk of the work has been through offering an assessment and planning process to childcare organizations, schools, workplaces. A lot of businesses in the area have taken advantage of that. Neighborhoods and actually other youth-serving organizations, neighborhoods and communities as a whole. So we have a sort of a portfolio of assessment tools, 5 different tools that we're able to offer an organization or a community based on what they're trying to accomplish. If it's broad health and well-being of people, whether that's children or the community as a whole, we have what's called the Community Healthy Living Index. And we probably use that tool far more than the others at this point in time. So we facilitate that process with a group of stakeholders from that organization or community. We help guide them through a planning process, and then we support them in the changes. And part of the support has been in financial. We've actually, by the end of December, we will have awarded $29,500 of grant monies that we received, but that we're giving back to organizations that have gone through one of our assessment and planning processes to help seed some of the change efforts that they're wanting to see.
So making the healthy choice the easy choice. Gosh, last time I looked, buying local or buying organic was more expensive than going to the big box store and maybe buying a box of Cracker Jacks.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you deal with things like that?
That's part of the game that we're in, is trying to change that environment. And one of the new projects that we're starting in our new 3-year strategic plan, working with, in this case in Brattleboro, the Brattleboro Area Prevention Coalition, is a Healthy Retailers Project. It's an initiative of the state of Vermont Department of Health, and we're engaging kids and parents as a family unit to go into their corner store, their neighborhood market, the place that they shop at, take a look at the products that are available to them to support their health. And then there are some supports, both marketing-wise and some financial. In the case of us, financials, we're devoting some of our money to this to help the store owners change maybe their product mix, or maybe at least at a minimum how they display different things. And right now, you know, because of our work in this arena, everywhere I look now, that's what I see. Whether it's a sidewalk that just ends, or a store that I walk into and there's the Doritos rack right in front of me as soon as I get through the door. So we're trying to, through the assessment and planning processes that we're using, we're spreading that out to a lot of other people, including young people, to see the world, see their community in a slightly different way and advocate for changes. On the financial side, I'll say, so one of our, the person that does the assessment and planning work for us, while he was a graduate student at SIT, started the Market Basket down on Elliott Street. And I think we're using that as a model, not that it's ours, but in trying to help replicate positive, beneficial models. There's, to me, a part of that story of that market that doesn't get a lot of attention, beyond the fact that it's engaged young farmers uniquely, so it's helping them get started in their business, exclusively focused or primarily focused on serving our low-income neighbors, and helping out by accepting the EBT cards for Vermont 3 Squares and all. But a unique twist that Josh brought to it, it's a party. A lot of the stigma and so when we talk about changing environments, I think that's a great example. Who wouldn't want to go and listen to some music, a kid get down on the sidewalk and draw with chalk and all that. and be able to pick up some fresh fruits and vegetables that were locally grown. So that's the type of environment that we're trying to spread throughout the county.
And it doesn't have to be anything as controlled as that, or as extensive as that, I guess is the word. It's really what we're trying to be doing. What we're trying to do is be change agents, in change the thinking. If you're an organization and you do a lot of conferences and trainings, when you bring in the food, you don't bring in the macaroni salads and the potato salads and all that and the big heavy lasagnas. You order out, and the foods that you bring in are the healthier foods, the green salads and the wraps. And it's just a different, it's still going to be the same amount of money, but it's just being a change agent. What can I do for my staff? Some of the restaurants or hospital cafeterias, putting the healthy foods before the non-healthy foods as they go through. So it's just things like that, really getting people to think differently about healthy choices. So it can be a healthy choice, can be an easy choice.
We also integrate that really extensively into all of our programs. And whether it's we provide a healthy snack, but we also introduce the children and the families. We have family connection activities and family nights at all of our programs. So we introduce them to fruits and vegetables that they've never tried, additional foods, and help the parents see where they can purchase it. We've done things like remade Lunchables. You don't have to, the easy choice can be healthy as well, and that there's an easy way to prep a Lunchable, your own Lunchable that's just as good, just as finger-friendly, which is some of the things you have to consider with children. It can look good, and with just a little bit more preparation can take you into a healthy lunch instead. So,
now where's exercise come into all of this? Either making it easy, making the easy choice for the business person or the young person, or even some of our seniors to be able to get some of the opportunities out there.
Yeah, we've chosen to stay away from the word exercise very intentionally, and what we'll use as a phrase to substitute is routine physical activity. So what we're trying to encourage, and if you think of our partners at the town of Brattleboro, Rod Francis and Sue Fillion in the planning department are close allies we are for one another. As a recent example, they won a grant through AARP Vermont to have Dan Burden, a national walkability expert, come to town. That was just a couple weeks ago, to take a look at a particular section of town, only because we wanted to do it experientially, but really the principles can be applied throughout the community, and in fact Rod and Sue are doing that. So in terms of, when we think of routine physical activity, that is, I know you live a little bit out of town, so walking to work may not be as practical for you, but riding, or even some of the things we're in Townsend, we're working with Grace Cottage and Valley Cares in talking about reciprocal parking. Here's a local example, BMH in Marlborough College, where we have an office, could be a similar model, where we just trade parking passes. So we give up 10 spaces at Marlborough College to BMH employees and vice versa, so that we're able to park a mile and a half away and walk that to get to work each day. So thinking, again, creatively, as Gretchen said, and trying to encourage. So yes, it is exercise, but we know statistically speaking that 45 to 55% of people in America, and that would be true for here as well, I imagine, are what we call health seekers. And it's people that need ongoing guidance and supportive relationships in order to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So for the health seeker, exercise is not a word that's going to resonate with them, probably. But to think about walking their child to school, absolutely. So the fact that they're getting the benefit of exercise, but by just getting some fresh air and walking their child to school, with a walking school bus or walking to work or cycling to work, it's accomplishing everything that exercise should and does. But so creating environments that support that is part of what we're trying to do.
So with all of that going on, and really the economy having a series of struggles, plus adding to what's been an exceptionally tough year in the Brattleboro area, no matter how you cut it, what's the future hold for Meeting Waters YMCA? I mean, you've been here now for 116 years.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing challenge, to be honest, because we provide financial assistance in addition to the child care subsidy. We rely on the support of the communities that we serve, and we provide a significant amount of financial assistance to the Brattleboro area, and rely on that community to provide us with those funds through donations. And our donations from Brattleboro are minimal at best, I guess. But I think part of that is knowing and understanding what we do and who we serve. So that's one of the reasons that we're here.
Good point, good suggestion. How can people make a contribution? Are there avenues where they could go online or take part in a fundraiser, or almost as good as cold hard cash is saying, I can help you do something?
And that's always, the help is needed. We would love to have Brattleboro people engaged in our work. As Sue said, we serve as far as numbers of children and numbers of programs. Brattleboro is our largest community with kids and programs, but we have the least amount of representation and in people actively engaged and in financial contributions. So, but people becoming involved in our work and financial contributions to the work is really important, and that's what keeps us going. We have as we said, we're looking forward. We look to see what the community needs are, and we work to meet those needs. But we need the support from the community in order to keep going.
So right about this time, our community support campaign will be launched, and businesses in the area and all will receive information about the impact of our work and how they can invest in that. And it certainly can be done through our website as well, meetingwatersymca.org.
You know, many people get a lot of those sorts of letters at the end of the year, and we're all under tremendous pressure. What's at risk? Why should we do more with your letter than what some people normally do?
Well, yeah, we all have tough choices for the supports. I think one thing that we started doing about 4 years ago, and it was actually when Sue was in graduate school studying organizational leadership, was to talk more about impacts. So we're trying to kind of change the conversation here in Brattleboro in particular, because it is Sue's graduate research which suggests that this is the highest concentration of nonprofit charitable organizations in America per capita. And so it's a cluttered field, if you will. I mean, pick any industry. If there were 56 radio stations, you'd be, fighting for your position and having to differentiate yourself. So we respect and admire the work of all kinds of different organizations. I think we are all about making impacts, as Gretchen said earlier, lasting, significant impacts in young people's lives, in families' lives, and in the community as a whole. If we change, make Brattleboro more walkable, that's forever, or that's for quite a long time anyway. That sidewalks aren't going to be ripped up, or islands that calm traffic, or so. We started 4 years ago writing a quarterly newsletter for our donors called ROI, but instead of return on investment, we are saying reporting our impact. And so we put out a report that each quarter talks about some of the impacts we're having, not just number of people served and all, that's important, but as Sue said earlier, if we have young people in the out-of-school hours to help mom and dad work, that's a significant contribution in and of itself. But if we've got those kids, those 100 kids, like we do today, right now, at those 3 sites in Dummerston, we want to impact their lives as much as we possibly can. So to change the conversation or expand the conversation, to have it be more about impacts, I think benefits all of us, and it certainly benefits you and others who are really struggling with the tough decisions around what charities to support and invest in.
And we are one of, it's a struggle, but where else do you have, as Steve said, the impact, youth development, healthy living, social responsibility? Those are the 3 pillars of the Y. That's what the Y is all about. And that's where we, as one teeny organization, has that outreach and that ability and that exciting chance to be able to make a change in people's lives.
So again, how can we contact the Meeting Waters YMCA?
You can check out our website, as Steve said, meetingwatersymca.org. We have a local phone number, 246-1036. Any of us can be reached at Sue, my email address, sue@meetingwatersymca.org, steve@meetingwatersymca.org, or info@meetingwatersymca.org is another general email for us.
I also mentioned, as far as social media, we have very active Facebook pages for both Meeting Waters YMCA and the Healthy Communities Coalition, and our sister coalition that we co-lead with the Department of Health here, the Fit and Healthy Kids Coalition. So 3 different, depending on what interests any particular viewer has, they can find us on Facebook in those 3 places as well.
So while you're checking out Farmville, make sure you friend the Meeting Waters YMCA.
Absolutely.
And one thing I think that we didn't talk about is you'll go on to the website and you'll see it's Meeting Waters YMCA. We are not a part of YMCA is a national organization, but we're not a franchise of it. We are a separate nonprofit. They are a governing organization, but we run our program differently than the one in Keene, than the one in Greenfield. We're all very independent organizations who report to and get support from, but not financial support. So.
Really appreciate all of you coming in to explain all this to us. Steve Fortier, Sue Fortier, Gretchen Horton. The Meeting Waters YMCA. Now you know why. Let's help them. This is Tim Johnson. Thanks for watching.